I think the Kawhi Leonard and Paul George experiment for the Los Angeles Clippers has been one of the worst experiences I've ever seen and has been an abject failure. What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. And today, let's just talk about the Clippers. So, without further ado, please like, please subscribe. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. So, yeah, you heard me. The Los Angeles Clippers and with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have been an abject failure. And that's because the expectations coming into the 2019 to 2020 free agency was that the Clippers were going to be a really, really good team, and they were basically a championship or bust team because of the situation where they traded for Paul George for 4 first-round picks to the Thunder for, they gave up Shea Gilgeous-Alexander for Paul George. And at the time, I thought, that trade was good. That was a good trade. You're getting Paul George, who's a superstar, and Shea is just an up-and-coming star. You don't know if he's going to be really, really good, so you have to take what you got to take for that, right? You got to cut your losses sometimes in order to help the team get better. And I'm not saying Paul George has been the problem. Like, I think Paul George out of these two have been actually the beneficiary out of all of them, because I feel like he's been more healthier than Kawhi Leonard. But I want to first center this video on Kawhi Leonard, right? I like Kawhi Leonard. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He in my opinion, one of the best defenders of all time. Um, Two-way scorer, can do it all. He's won 2 championships, helped the Raptors win their first championship. Beat LeBron in the finals, won Finals MVP, he's a 2-time Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. His resume speaks for himself. But ever since he's joined the Clippers, in my opinion, his career has gone downwards. And the reason why I'm saying that is it's because of his health. It's not what he does on the court. It's not what he does off the court. It's just his injuries has derailed his career right now. And even here's the thing though, right? Even if he retires right now, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. But I'm talking about what he's done on the Clippers, and he's really hurt the team rather than help the team, in my opinion. And because here's the thing, right? Ever since he's come to the Clippers, right? He has, came to the Clippers, brought them to playoffs, which is pretty good. But when it matters the most, he's always on the bench. And that's my only problem with Kawhi Leonard, is that his health has been always an issue. And for example, 2020 was his only healthy postseason because he choked in the second round against the Denver Nuggets, and ultimately, was probably one of the worst playoff series I've ever seen from Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. But then after that, the next season in 2021, he beats the Mavericks in 7 games, repeats that success, and then gets injured against the Jazz series, and then is not there when the Clippers made history, and making their first ever Western Conference Finals debut, and ultimately they lose to the Suns. And that's a problem, in my opinion, because like if you're the star of the team and you're not there when it matters the most, like I just feel like the Clippers should just cut their loose ties from this duo, because it just is not happening. It's not getting any success. You're not going to the finals. You have no finals appearances. You have only one Western Conference appearance to show for it. And ideally that's good for a team, but for a team that gave up their future for this, I just don't think this is the right move for them. When it comes to keeping Kawhi Leonard, you got to give this man $52 million next year, and in 2025, 2026, you got to give him $50 million. So I just don't think this is the right move for keeping Kawhi Leonard on the team. But again, 2023, he did the same thing. He was injured. In the first round against the Suns. This year, injured against the Mavericks in the first round. So he's just never there. He's just never healthy. And it just makes me think, does Kawhi Leonard want to still play the sport? Because we see Luka Doncic be injured and have the willingness to still play. And in my opinion, Kawhi Leonard has done it all. He's won championships. He's won Defensive Player of the Year. He's won multiple All-Stars. Been in All NBA teams. He has nothing left to prove, in my opinion. He's never going to go get an MVP. He's not that type of player. There's just no point in Kawhi Leonard playing basketball still. That's my opinion. I think that's a separate video. But I think when it comes to the Clippers, The Clippers need to cut their ties with Kawhi Leonard. It's just not working. Now, let me get into Paul George here. Paul George, I think he's the best player on the Clippers. Because the reason why I say he's the best player on the Clippers is not because he's more talented and better than Kawhi Leonard. It's because he's mostly always on the court. And yes, he has his injuries. He has that. But I feel like Paul George has always been there. And he was there in the Western Conference Finals. He was there this playoffs. He wasn't there last playoffs because he was injured against the Suns. But he was there this playoffs. He played really, really good. And if I'm the Clippers, if I had to choose between Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, I would keep Paul George. But I think they should get rid of both of them. I think Paul George, this free agency, they should not re-sign him. I don't think it just makes sense. I think the Clippers need to rebuild. I think Paul George should go to the Knicks. That's my opinion. He should go to the Knicks or some other team. And I just think that they need to cut their ties. I think they should trade James Harden. Um, because actually no, never mind. He's a free agent. James Harden, I don't think they should even re-sign either because I just think that it's time for the Clippers to rebuild. Get back your picks. Like trade you have to trade Kawhi Leonard. You might have to trade Norman Powell. Like there's so many players you need to trade in this team to get more picks back because again the Thunder own most of your picks now because of that Paul George trade. So you need to go get back your picks. Go get some. Go clear up the salary cap and go rebuild and build your stars because you want picks in the 2025 draft class because that draft class is supposedly supposed to be really really good. So you don't want to miss out on that. So I think the Clippers should definitely prioritize their future rather than dwell on the past and think, oh, they can maybe fix this team and fix their mistakes because I don't think they can. I don't think they're ever going to be healthy, these three. I think James Harden's pretty washed. I don't think he's good enough to lead this team to a victory. I don't think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard will ever be healthy on the same time. And that's just a problem when it comes to ownership and the front office. And I think they need to take care of this issue before it becomes a bigger issue and where they can't get picks and then they're still drive into the luxury tax and the salary cap. So they should definitely trade Kawhi Leonard. I think they should let Paul George go in free agency and James Harden go in free agency. I think they should trade Norman Powell. I think you might have to trade Russell Westbrook for a bag of Doritos. But yeah, you guys comment down below what you guys think the Clippers should do. This is my opinion. Without further ado, that's gonna wrap it up for the video. Peace.